Unless you've been under a rock for the past few years, you've probably heard something about Bitcoin. And if you're like a lot of people, you probably still have no idea what Bitcoin is or what it's for. Bitcoin isn't an easy thing to understand, but it is worth understanding. It's put a lot of Teslas and Ferraris in driveways where you wouldn't expect them. And it has some pretty big implications for how we could be doing business both online and in person over the next 10 years. Graham's our local Bitcoin nut, and he's here to shed a little light on what it is, why you'd want it, and what you can do to be a part of it.
You know, Mike's right. Bitcoin's not always easy to understand, but when you think about it, it can actually make sense. So what is Bitcoin? Well, to start off with, it's a method of paying for things. It's what we call a digital decentralized currency. So I can pay you for something, you can pay me for something, services and goods. That's great. Now, how does that happen? Well, Bitcoin isn't just a currency, it's also the secure network where the transactions take place. When you think of buying something with Interac, you plug your card in, a signal goes through the network that verifies your account, makes sure the money is there, and then transfers it from you to the person that you're buying things from. Bitcoin's very much the same way. Essentially, if I have Bitcoin, I'm going to connect to you directly, and I'm going to send my Bitcoin to you. So that's one of the reasons why Bitcoin is cool. There's nobody in charge. There's no bank between you and I. What's great about there being no bank? Well, that means that there are no fees. If you've ever received one of those $14.95 charges at the end of the month, you're probably happy about that. One of the great things about Bitcoin as well, instant transfers. They're very, very fast. So if I send you something from my mobile phone, it can appear on your mobile phone fairly quickly. So that's a good feature as well. So how do you get Bitcoin? Well, you might have heard of Bitcoin mining. The searches for Bitcoin mining and how to get Bitcoin have been off the charts for the last few years. By mining into the blockchain, you're able to find Bitcoin. It's a little like digging for gold. So what is the blockchain? Well, it's the network through which all Bitcoin transactions take place. When you mine into it, you're actually securing those transactions and authenticating them between person to person. By digging into it, it's like finding gold. If you find a Bitcoin, you get to keep it. You can also buy Bitcoin. There are exchanges out there where you can exchange your dollars, Canadian dollars, US dollars, euros, for Bitcoin, and they'll transfer them back to you. You can also trade for Bitcoin, not to be confused with buying it. Let's say you've got a beautiful MacBook Air that you no longer want. You can put an ad up on Craigslist and say, I'd like Bitcoin for this. You can meet someone who can transfer their Bitcoin from their mobile phone to you. Once you've verified you've got the Bitcoin, hand them the laptop and walk away. So why would you use your mobile phone? Well, that's where you have a Bitcoin wallet app. You can also have one on your computer. It's a secure place to keep your Bitcoin when you want to use it. So where can you use Bitcoin? Well, direct payments like that, person to person. You can also use it online with tons of retailers. Over 500 retailers online are taking Bitcoin for various goods and services. One of the most common questions that we get about Bitcoin is, what about illegal stuff? Now, you might have heard of the Silk Road. It was a website where you could go to purchase illegal things like drugs with Bitcoin. Now, illegal activity takes place just about everywhere, and Bitcoin, being a lot like cash, with anonymous transfers, can be a great way of going about doing illegal things. Here's one thing that I would say to that, though. Billions of dollars are laundered every year in cash. Only a fraction of that actually happens with Bitcoin. So you might say that when it comes to crime, this is the only place where Bitcoin is actually way behind.
So that's Bitcoin. It's a bit like cash, a bit like Interac, and a bit like something altogether new. I like Bitcoin. I don't understand it completely, but I get enough of it to realize that it could change the way that we buy and sell things in the years to come. If you want to learn more about Bitcoin, you can check out bitcoin.org, and if you make enough to buy a couple Teslas, don't forget to send one my way.